Hey guys, today we're at our warehouse and we're going to do a demonstration of installing a Transom adapter on a kayak that's typically too difficult to use any of our other adapters. So we've got about a dozen adapters. We try to keep things as plug and play as possible, but there are times where you're gonna have a hard time installing on a kayak because either the end is too sharp or it's got too much of an angle or there just isn't enough meat on a kayak to do what you need to do. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a RAILBLAZA motor mounting bracket. Okay, we're gonna mount this bracket onto the back of our kayak like this. So what that's gonna give you is it's gonna give you a nice platform to use our Transom adapter. And then you'll be able to sit on your chair here and just use that tiller steering to steer your kayak. Now the question is, is it okay to have the motor to one side or off to the other side of the kayak? And the answer is it is. You'll still track straight. The kayak is got a hull designed to track straight, so you're going to track straight. You may need to adjust steering every now and then, but generally it works quite well. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. And the cool thing about this adapter is that it actually is bi-directional, so you can use it on either side of your kayak. So depending on what you're more comfortable with, you can have it on your left or right. Today we're going to install it this way just because it works better for the camera. And you'll notice on this kayak, this is sort of our do everything on kayak. So we've got our hand steering on here. We do have our big gudgeon on the back there as well, but we're going to ignore all that. We're going to pretend none of that is there. And today we're just going to install the RAILBLAZA adapter. And there's a link for this below. So if you want to know where to buy one of these, and then we're going to put our Transom adapter onto there and go ahead and hook up the kayak. So let's get started. So with this setup, what you do get is you do get these RAILBLAZA brackets and the nuts and bolts you need to install these. What's really neat about this is you can use these to mount every other RAILBLAZA accessory onto your kayak. So if you don't want your motor on there or whatever, these brackets are still amazing to have on your kayak because you can put fish rod holders on there. You can put all kinds of different accessories on these very standard, essentially, RAILBLAZA adapters. So you'll get your RAILBLAZA adapters, you get your nuts and bolts. I've taken away the nuts and bolts we don't need for this installation. You do need a little bit of silicone just to seal those nuts and bolts going there. Phillips screwdriver. We do need something to hold those nuts from underneath. I've got a little marker here to mark my holes on the kayak, and we do need a drill to drill those holes. So that's all you need, actually. It's a pretty simple, straightforward install. So I'm going to go ahead, mark these on my kayak, drill the holes, put them on, and I'll show you how to install that RAILBLAZA bracket on the kayak. So we want to choose a spot on the kayak where it's just behind your seat, but not so close to your seat that it's hard for you to reach your arm. So you sort of want to go back a little bit. Don't forget, on your Transom adapter with the Bixpy, you get a 12-inch and a 24-inch handle, and you can choose which one you want to use. On the kayak, when it's this close, you probably want that 12-inch. On this kayak, I'm going to mark and go right in front of this eye loop here because I've got a nice flat area here I can work with. So I'm going to install this. I'm going to try and keep this as close to this little eye loop as possible. I'm going to mark my holes. Then I'm going to go ahead and drill some holes in my kayak. Okay, so there's our 4 holes, and they do line up nicely. So I'm going to take one of my sets. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Then you'll notice that on this kayak, we have put a hatch here, and you can buy these on Amazon or West Marine or any sort of local marine shop. They're about anywhere from $8 to $10, and we've put this on here. That way we have access to the inside of the boat, so we can tighten those bolts on there. We do have another hatch in the front of this kayak as well, right under the seat that we've put in. Again, this is our experimental kayak, so we've put all kinds of hatches and holes and so on into this kayak. You don't have to have so many hatches. Definitely one is very helpful. And these are very, again, very cheap and very easy to put on your kayak. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that on the other side. And once I have these in, we'll see you guys in a second to put that mount on here. So guys, we have mounted these onto the kayak. We've bolted them in from inside, put a little bit of silicone under the screws so no water gets in there. And we're ready now to put our adapter on to our kayak. Now you'll notice that these adapters are somewhat adjustable, so you can slide these arms and have this plate a little further or a little closer to you as you prefer. But I've got it set up here right now. So there's a little locking mechanism here. So we're gonna unlock, put the first one in. Okay, then we can either adjust the second one by sliding it or just push the entire adapter out if we want to and adjust that so it's a little bit further out. Just depends on your kayak. This is a pretty small, narrow kayak, so I'm just gonna pull this guy a little bit closer to myself. And that's gonna be our distance between the two RAILBLAZA mounting brackets. Once I know my distance, then I can actually take this adapter off and I can tighten these 4 bolts that are here to make sure I'm in nice and secure.
There we go.
So again, now that we know the distance between our 2 mounting brackets, we can go ahead and tighten this down so it's not moving around and sliding up and down. So there's one. And there's the other side. So we want to take turns. We don't want to make one very tight and then the other one too loose. So we sort of tighten one, tighten the other one, tighten one, tighten the other one until they're both nice and tight. And now we can put our mounting bracket in here securely and lock it into place. Now we have very stable, very strong platform for our Transom adapter. So I have our Transom adapter. We've already done the installation on this. The installation on this is pretty straightforward, guys. There is a link below on how to install your J-2 motor onto the Transom adapter. So you can check that out, how to do that, but we've already got that done. So I'm just gonna go ahead here and install our adapter onto the RAILBLAZA plate here. There we go. Nice and tight. And you've got your cable here. You can run that cable to the back of your kayak, plug it into your battery. We'll do that in a second. Your tiller arm, like I said, you do have 2 options with the tiller arm. There's a 12-inch and a 24-inch. In this case, we've got the 12-inch on here with our rubber handle. And that's it. We're done. This is installed. Now, right now, this is a little further than I would like it to be for my setup. So you can easily open up these screws and just push this guy in, bring him in another couple of inches toward your kayak if you want to. Just depends on your setup, how long your arms are and so on. This tiller arm steering does go back and fold onto itself for storage. And all the features of this adapter are in the video link below. And we are done with this installation, guys. So I'm gonna run that battery right now to the back, plug it in, leave it on the back, and show you guys how that's done as well. Okay, guys, so we've got our Transom adapter on. We've got our RAILBLAZA mounting plate on. So all we really have left to do now is connect our motor to our battery, and we're off. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. As always, your PP378 or 333 have 3 outlets. You've got your charging port, your auxiliary port for 12 and 5 volt devices, and then you've got your main power output. So we're gonna connect the motor to that main power output. You'll see you've got 5 pins there, 5 corresponding pins on your connector. And you've got 2 little tabs here that you wanna align to those 2 tabs on the connector. I always like putting a little bit of dielectric grease in these connectors. It just protects them from salt water, from corrosion, and so on. So we're gonna do that. Just put a little dab of dielectric grease in there. And again, we're gonna line up our tabs, we're gonna line up our pins, and do a little bit of a push in there, and just turn 175 degrees. Finger tightening is enough, no tools needed at all. We're gonna grab our kill switch here. Kill switch is on there, telling you how much battery you've got. In this case, we're full, 6 LEDs on. and our remote. So we're going to run that at first speed. And we're good. We're off. So that is a full installation on a kayak that would be otherwise very difficult to mount to, whether it's because you have a very tight back on the kayak, or it's very high, or it's very narrow, whatever the reason, you want to get that motor behind you. This is the best way to do that. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and see you guys on the water.